Hi guys, and welcome to the very first episode of PantsuCasters. I'm your host.
Or Ponzu.
PantsuCast. Look, I'm still working out the kinks.
You
I'm
moron.
ironing out the wrinkles, okay?
Alright, no problem.
Alright. Hi guys, this is a sister cast, and, well, fuck.
It is kind of a sister
It is
cast.
kind of a sister cast to Anime Podcasters. It's a spin-off series by HotShotGinger, that's me, and my co-host, GoProKyo. So, if you guys have heard of us, we talk about animes on Anime Podcasters, a show done by Giant Music.
Our very good friend.
Our very good friend at this point. So,
at this point.
But there are certain animes that we watch and heavily enjoy that he won't even touch, and that is exactly what we're going to be focusing on.
We're going to focus on the darker side of the moon, as it were.
Darker side...
The lewd corner of the library that you are not allowed to enter until you are at least 18. That's right.
The Pleasure Mountain of anime.
The Pleasure Mountain. I mean, there is a wide variety of Ecchi anime out there.
Yeah.
First off, can I ask, how do you pronounce it? Do you pronounce it Ecchi or Ecchi?
I say Ecchi.
You say Ecchi?
But I say a lot of Japanese things wrong.
I do too, but I'm not, or like, I don't know.
So, Ecchi it is. If it's wrong, it's wrong. If it's right, it's right. That's just what we say. You all know what we mean anyway.
Yeah.
So, for our very first episode, we thought we should find one of the dirtiest anime that we can possibly find.
I actually would say it's probably higher up there than the other ones that we've
It totally
watched.
is. So, we picked Shimonetta, otherwise known as A Boring World in Which a Concept of Dirty Jokes Does Not Exist. And I love this show.
We apologize for the length of that. You know what? The creator should apologize for the length of that title.
I'm not apologizing for it because it's obvious.
For the length of the title.
No, it's obvious that this creator likes long things.
Fair.
So, yes. By the way, that was a penis joke. So...
Don't tell him that. You'll make him feel stupid.
So, what Shimoneta is it involves a secret society group called Socks, where the world has ridded itself of all dirty things, meaning no dirty language, no, like, pinups or dirty magazines, no, like, even talk of masturbation or even letting your hormones getting wild and out of control, etc., etc. And our main heroine says bullshit on that and starts up a secret group called Socks and basically fights against the system with, like, call girl cards and drawing her own hentai stuff, and basically just like spreading the word of dirty stuff and dirty jokes and stuff like that, which we immediately fell in love with her.
I think part of the appeal is the fact that like you don't really hear the words cock or pussy in anime really.
Yeah,
I think it's kind of funny to just like go from 0 to 10 in like the first 5 minutes, or like within the first 3 minutes of the show.
Yeah, it's always just like your thing. Like it's always just a stutter.
There's always a different word for it. It's always
like your thingy or your stick or 11th finger, which we heard about just recently.
Have you ever heard anybody use that phrase? Because I never did until
no, but I might start using it now.
Right. Okay.
I mean, I'm not going to, like, at all, seriously, but at the same time, it's just kind of that beautiful thing where you might actually use it, like, on occasion.
I think the thing that stands out to me the most is that, like, the world that they live in is pretty close to our own.
Yeah.
Like, if you think about it I don't mean to get too philosophical on a show about Ponzu, sorry. It kind of mirrors our own world and how, like, it's not socially acceptable to talk about this stuff necessarily, but, like, they take it to
the extreme of it being highly illegal.
To be illegal. There are so, like, the thing is in Japan, it's a little worse than it is here, because the whole thing is, like, you don't talk about it publicly, definitely not, but when it comes to them selling stuff... Mm-hmm.
It's all over the place.
It is, but like the thing is that the reason for that is like you're allowed to sell just about anything in Japan as long as it's censored.
Okay.
which is why, like, when you watch hentai, it's pixelated, and, like, because sometimes, like, if you watch certain hentai, you'll notice that that they're just animated, pixelized. Like, some of them are, others are not. Like, others are, like, later on, like, they'll censor it, like, after it's been animated. Others will just animate them in pixel.
Right. But then you also have, like, even though, like, you can only sell if it's censored, you still get the uncensored versions if you can, like, I guess privately buy it or privately seek it.
Some places can do that. I don't know what the specifics are of it because, like, their uncensored hentai exists.
Yeah.
But you don't. It's, like, really hard to find. I think because like it's. I think because it's illegal for them to sell stuff that's not censored is basically the whole.
But I think that
whole point.
I think that's another thing that Shimonetta does though, because like it does still technically censor itself, but not with like censor bars or blur effects or anything like that. It's always just like slightly teasing, like just enough to where
it's
if it went any further.
I think it's literally the power of suggestion because like this scene that we just rewatched to get a feel for this show again.
Yeah. So just so you guys know, we rewatched episode like midway through the series because that's where like all the characters were already
episode to go back to.
Yeah,
also.
like all the characters were already established, and like what their wants and desires and how they interacted with each other was already there. So we just wanted to get a refresher of like how everyone acted on a basis. And in this episode,
this is the episode where they're making sex toys, homemade basically.
Homemade sex toys, and there was like at least one like sexual ignorant person, like ignorant to sexual stuff, where our main guy hero, what would you say? No.
I didn't pay attention.
How'd you say? I didn't either. I didn't see it. But paying attention to him, where he's like, please don't take me back to her because she is very thirsty and she immediately will go after me. But meanwhile, this other guy's just dragging him along like, we need to start the project, and she asked me to fetch you, so here I am. Just like, dude, please, I'm begging you, let me go. Like, nope, we need you for school stuff. And school stuff is not what she has in mind, buddy. And then, like, once Anna and our main guy hero reconnect with that, basically just like hentai without actually pushing the limit to being hentai. Like she with her on top of him.
Like I said, it's all power suggestion. Like the scene gets to where she's on top of his groin and
there's a giraffe head that just steadily climbs.
Yeah, they show that clip and it's like the most like it puts the imagery in your head and that's all it needs to be.
Giraffe head steadily climbs. There's a champagne bottle that's shaking and the cork's almost popping. Yeah. And trust me, you guys know what that is. It's just like it's constantly filled with jokes like that, and it's constantly filled with visuals like that make me love it so much. Because if it just pulled what like normal ecchi anime does, with just like if you're in a bright room and like blue and like a white blur is on your chest or like just pixelated groin or anything like that, it would lose the effect. But just like being ever so slightly covered or just like cutting away to something that still represents what's happening makes it all the more hilarious.
It kind of runs on your own like what's the word for it? Your own dirty imagination kind of fills in the blanks for you is probably what like makes it work for some people and doesn't work for others.
And I've said this many times on many different shows, on many different channels that I've been on. That's about 80% of my humor is just sex stuff. So I think I'm well in my element here.
Why do you think we're doing this anyway?
Well, yeah, I mean, Jaden won't do it, so here we are. We have to entertain ourselves somehow.
Exactly.
I'll take the initiative. So, a couple points that I wanted to talk about was, like, the main idea of socks, like, why they're trying to do what they're trying to do. But I'm also wanting to talk about, like, what exactly, in general, classifies as an ecchi anime. Especially since this is our first. Mm-hmm. So, it's just like...
You mean first podcast?
Our first podcast, yeah. We've watched plenty of ecchi anime, but we haven't seen any, like... but like we haven't done a podcast episode on it. So like some people may not know what we actually mean. We've been talking about sex and we've been talking about like suggestive images and stuff like this, but we have never actually covered what it means. So what does ecchi actually mean? Like when you think ecchi, what do you think of?
So ecchi is kind of like, for me personally, sometimes when I think of ecchi anime, I think kind of sleazy is a good word to describe some of them. I think the best way to describe it is that it's border hentai almost.
Yeah, but not
Whereas,
quite to hentai territory.
Which, like, I think ecchi is a little better at like suggestion as opposed to like actual hentai. Hentai is just kind of goofy sometimes, actually.
Well, I mean, it's anime in general. Like whether it's ecchi or not, goofy in general. Like even the most serious of anime can be goofy.
Yeah.
Let me rip this quote from out of nowhere. I'll take this chip and eat it.
Fair enough.
So yeah, like drastic, serious anime like the one I just referenced can be goofy as fuck. Like even more goofy than ones that are meant to be goofy, like say Lucky Star.
Right.
But you can just so you kind of know what you're getting into when you get anime or when you get into hentai or when you get even just regular cartoons or anything like that. Like goofy sells, like sex sells and goofy sells. Combine them together, you have the perfect world? ? Goofy sex. Yuck, yuck, yuck,
Please
yuck.
no, please no.
Oh.
Okay, no.
Oh god, and then when someone's pegging him, oh god, I feel really bad about that.
You are a bad person.
I'm not taking that back though, because that's what this is. Oh lord. But when I think ecchi anime, like I'm on the same page as you. It's like not quite hentai, but if it got like that slightly more of a push, it very easily could be.
Yeah.
Like one of the most, in my eyes at least, one of the most famous ecchi animes is High School DxD. And one of the scenes in there is Reyes having Issei down and on top of him, and she's completely nude. So, like, very clearly, like, something would happen if it was a hentai, and it would, like, take that one extra step. But in the anime, they get interrupted by Greymare, I think. I can't remember the name exactly off the top of my head, but it's her brother's queen. Do you remember?
Reyes' sister-in-law?
Yeah.
Oh, no idea.
Okay, I can't remember the name off the top of my head. It's been a while since we've seen DxD.
I haven't watched DxD in a while.
I miss it. But that's like what I think of. It's like a choose your own adventure. Like if you take this path, you'll be a hentai. If you'll be this path, you'll be an ecchi. But wasn't there one ecchi anime like so hentai-esque that Funimation just stopped? And basically it got qualified as a hentai from now on.
It kind of is. It's not as explicit as I thought because the edits that I found were... So, like, somebody actually spliced together actual hentai clips and made it so that, through the power of, like, just my own mind suggesting this. So, like, there's a shot where there's an insertion, but it's a clip from another hentai. But, like, in the actual video, it's, like, just barely blocked out from, like, the original show.
Oh, so
but
you
there is very clear, like, sex going on during that point.
So it is... in all means, it is a hentai.
It essentially is. It's just not allowed. It's just not as graphic. It's, like, really kind of pushing... the boundaries.
It's a softcore hentai.
It's softcore, or it's like hardcore ecchi softcore hentai.
Okay.
Is kind of what I would classify it as because the
we'll see, like
Funimation didn't check all of the episodes before they purchased it. They got the first couple episodes, and apparently the first couple episodes were not that lewd. That's what I'm assuming.
Like they were ecchi enough.
Yeah, they were ecchi. Like they're just used to that. Yeah. But they got to an episode where there was like an actual sex. By the way, I don't think we said the actual name. It's called Ishukozo Reviewers.
Now, for people who are ignorant,
interspecies reviewers is what it's called.
Interspecies reviewers.
So it's monster girls, and they're just like. I think I need to just like sit down with it and just watch it.
Yeah.
Because we can't find it in English.
Because they
it's
refuse
not,
to dub it
won't be
now.
dubbed. But
so it is a hentai, because
friend-
there's no English dub.
there are... So, speaking of which, there was... You know that hentai about the vampire girl with...
Vampire vixen.
Or it's the vampire / succubus girl?
Yeah, vampire vixen.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, anyway, like there's a version
By
of
the
it where
way,
somebody
obviously,
dubbed it.
we watch hentai. We wouldn't be talking about this stuff if we didn't.
That just... Whatever. Anyway, I found an English dubbed version of it. It was a little weird.
Oh, I know. Trust
you've
me.
seen it? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. It's... Hentai is like... Okay, so it's really weird for me, because, like, hentai in English is a little off, but in its native tongue, in Japanese, it sounds just fine. But then when I'm watching regular anime, like say I'm watching Lucky Star or Naruto or anything, I can't bring myself to watch it in Japanese. I have to find the dub.
Well,
it makes no sense.
Well, I think it's just because you're watching something that doesn't require you to
To really follow the story. I'm not like paying attention to the voices as much as I'm paying attention to what's going on.
In the hentai, at least, yeah.
Well, yeah, no, I was talking about Naruto. I don't need to understand what's going on. I just watch the punching.
Sure. Anyway, as I was saying, so like apparently after the second episode, I think they just realized, oh, this is not okay for us to broadcast.
But why?
So you know why.
It'll be fine.
My a friend of mine, Ule Tiger, did or she's one of those not safe for work voice actresses that I've told you about.
Okay.
She produced a parody of the show, so it's like an audio only, like quote unquote parody of like an episode or something. But they're gonna like do a couple more, I think.
So it's like an audio play of it.
It is an audio play, and like some people were suggesting them, why don't you guys dub it? You guys are not safe for work voice actors anyway. Why not? They're like, I would love to, but I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah,
like I don't blame you guys.
Yeah, that's a very valid concern.
Yeah. I mean, I would love it if they did, because they're really funny people.
Yeah. All right, so I think that about covers Ecchi, but for Shimonetta,
I guess we'll jump back to that then.
Yeah. Again, the thing that makes Shimonetta like one of the dirtiest anime we've ever seen.
It surprisingly doesn't censor itself that much, because it doesn't quite. It pushes itself a lot, but it also doesn't.
Right.
Weirdly.
Like, it doesn't push itself too far, yet it also is on the very edge, holding on by a thread.
Yeah.
So it's just like
we said earlier, I think it's just the fact that it's so suggestive.
Yeah.
Like, I think suggestive is worse than, like, actually just saying full on, like, just words that you usually use in porn.
Yeah. But here's the thing. The people that, in Shimonetta, the people that aren't, that are sexually ignorant, like, don't understand what's going on before Socks comes into play. Like, the scientist, for example. Like, she understands what's going on, but she's so calm about it all. Like, she can be just nude under her trench coat and, like, not give a fuck. Or when we first see her, she just crawls up between our main guy's legs. Like, just pokes her head up from under his desk.
Yeah.
And starts their conversation there. And just, like, there's several instances like that where, like, if you're sexually ignorant, you don't understand, like, how close you are to being, like, oh my god, this is gonna, like, you're going to kill me, or anything like that. Like, I think the biggest turn of that, though, is definitely Anna. Because when we first meet Anna, she's, like, this strict, like, by the books, like, she's even the president of the student council.
Right.
So basically their job, if you guys don't know, is to go around the schools searching for smut or anything like that, like anything inappropriate for the students to have, and confiscate it and basically just like thrash it and stuff like that. And after our main hero accidentally kisses her by falling onto her, then a fucking door opens for Anna. Like, She was this true straight and narrow, but then after the kiss, she is hit with every sexual hormone there is in the book. Like, just seeing him makes her tingle, and she calls it her love nectar, which
is honestly worse than actually just saying, like...
Or juices.
I don't know which one's worse. I want to say that love nectar is a little...
Like love juice, love nectar.
I think I just coughed a little bit. Just saying.
Love nectar is definitely probably the rougher way to word it.
I would say so, yeah.
But that's what Anna calls it, and then she goes as far as to bake cookies with her love nectar and give them to our main hero.
It's
like, okay,
it's like it's almost as if, like, I think my best way of describing Anna is that, like, you know how, like, you have fantasies that you wouldn't actually want to do, like, in real life, kind of?
Yeah.
Like, for example, it's like...
Anyone with sexual fantasies knows what you're talking about.
I think that's what makes this, like, such a open podcast, honestly. It's like, just anybody...
Guys, we don't care, okay?
Yeah.
Like, we're going to be talking about shit like this. This is our series, so obviously we don't care how dirty things get.
But I was gonna say, she's like that person, or like if you just didn't give a shit and just like let go of all your inhibitions and just did whatever, like, sexually, I think.
Here's the thing, like, see, you're totally
baking,
right. You're totally right.
Baking with like fluids is like something you see in like comics and stuff like that all the time, but it's kind of funny to think that somebody would actually do that. I think some people actually do that, but I don't. I personally would not.
There
use it
are
myself.
there are love nectar cookers or bakers.
Yeah, I was gonna say cookers.
They use their love nectar, breast milk.
Why do you keep using love nectar?
Because that's what Anna calls it, so that's what I'm stuck on. And because you hate it, so I'm sticking with it.
Would you say that's like a safer word to use here?
Cum. They use cum of guys and girls. They use breast milk. Some people even use sweat and stuff like that. Like, there are different bodily fluids that play into this. But more or less, when you think about it, you think of the love nectar more than anything.
Right.
But when you think of girls, you also think of the breast milk, because that is more common than you think it is. But that's the thing. Like, with Anna...
The thing is, like, I don't... Like, breast milk is not inherently lewd.
No.
Those, the other thing.
But there's still, like, that hint of immature people, that still, like, link it to being lewd.
Right.
And I am not grown up enough to not qualify that.
Fair enough.
But with Anna, you're right. Like, she has all these like sadistic and like almost forbidden fantasies that sexual people would have. But she doesn't know what they are.
The thing is, like, she qualifies it with she's in love.
Yeah.
She doesn't realize that, like... She doesn't realize that, like, it's hormonal.
Yeah.
Because she got... Like, just because she received a kiss, she thinks that it's because he loves her, and thusly, because she's not used to these hormones.
Yeah.
It
overwhelms
goes crazy.
her easily.
Yes, she goes crazy, and she becomes... sexual deviant without knowing it.
Like, this could be this could be false information. But isn't the night of the kiss or the next night where Anna slips into his room and basically just tries to have her way with him?
I think so.
I think it's the same night, right?
I think so.
If not, it's the night after.
It was... I thought wasn't it Ayame who came into his place first?
Oh wait, no, it is the night after, because he starts getting stalked and like all these creepy messages, and then Ayame wants to seek out the stalker, like basically weed it out, and so Ayame and Sadako, the artist,
yeah, I think it's Sadako,
are waiting for the stalker to pounce, and then they find out it's Anna.
Oh,
and
yeah,
then,
okay. Yeah, that's right.
Then Anna just up and leaves because of interruption. But she promises she'll be back, and God, is she? But that's also what makes her, like, one of my favorite characters. Because...
It's adorable in the sense that, like...
It's adorable, yet it's also highly terrifying.
Yeah. It's adorable that, like, she has these misplaced feelings, and you kind of just want to sit down and tell her, like, honey...
You're horny.
Please.
It's
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, I know. I think that's like one of the big messages of the show is that like we need to understand lewd topics like this to it's okay. I mean, it's okay to talk about them, but there's a certain degree at which that you chill out, kind of.
Yeah.
You need to. It's important. You need to understand it, and you need to be able to talk about it.
Yeah.
You need to understand it in order to talk about it, and thusly,
it's important that it's brought to our attention. Too much exposure and like too much of it is definitely a bad thing. But at the same time, if you just hide it from everyone or hide it from like learning or anything like that, it's gonna completely fuck over everything in the long run. Mm-hmm. Like, it's completely normal to have these sexual tendencies and fantasies and stuff like that, as long as you don't go overboard.
Mm-hmm. Like the thing that a lot of I think that a lot of the people I follow say is like, as long as you're not hurting anybody, it's fine. And I completely agree with that. Like, I think that's the biggest point to keep in mind whenever you like bring up a personal fantasy or a kink. Mm-hmm. Is understanding both sides of it and just like understanding like somebody's perspective on it, and like if it involves like I don't know what I'm trying to explain.
If they get off on it and you don't, it's fine.
Yeah,
it's their thing. It's not yours. Let them be happy.
Right.
Like, if I have waifus, let me have my waifus. Am I hurting you? Am I bothering you? Am I completely talking to you about it? No, it's fine. If I have a certain kink and you're not involved in it in any way, but I tell it to you, don't kink shame me. It's just that kind of thing, though. Like, certain people have their fantasies, certain people have what they get off to, and if they trust you enough to tell you, instead of shaming them like you are disgusting, then, like, I'm not saying show support, but at the same time, just like, okay, that's neat. Like, don't completely like destroy their self-esteem just because of what they like.
Just let people have it is probably the best way.
Let me like what I like.
Yeah.
If I like whipped cream, I like whipped cream.
All right, then.
I'm just saying it as an example here.
You know,
if I like giraffes, let me like giraffes.
You fucker.
Hey, I'm only saying what I saw.
There was no whipped cream in that episode, was there?
No, that's just the first one that comes to mind whenever you think of like kinks that certain people have.
That's a pretty tame one.
It's a pretty common one, yeah. All right, if I'm in a BDSM, that has me suspended by my toes on the ceiling, tickled with feathers.
That does put like Sonic character pictures in my head, because so many people are all about like the feet thing or like the tickling the feet. Why is tickling the feet a thing? Like, I just want to understand that.
I think it's because it's a tingling sensation all over your body that you're helpless to stop. Like, especially if you're restrained for it.
That was what my parents did to me to tease me. They would tickle me.
I know.
And as an adult,
but here's the thing: as a kid, your parents would also spank you to punish you. And what do you like now? Spanking.
I never said I was into that.
I'm saying, like, as grown adults, like, most grown adults like spanking, but most grown adults were spanked as kids and hated it. I know I said you, but that's because I'm talking to you. So it's just kind of even if you hated it as a kid, or it happened to you as a kid and you hated it, like, your tastes have grown as you've grown older.
That's what confuses me, though, is like if you're into because like as an adult now, if you tickle my feet, I want to kick your jaw in.
Right. And so like one thing, like if you're roughhousing with someone growing up, like they'll pull a titty twister or something on you. Oh, now God. That's just played into heavy sex.
That's just a kink.
Right. So it's just like, okay, so punishment as kids is sexual arousal for adults? That's not okay.
I think because as kids you associate it with punishment. And then as an adult, you kind of, I guess, wires cross in a way. Mm. I don't have anything against
So
that.
red wire goes here, blue wire goes here.
Sure.
Or just cut the red wire, and then you just lose all sexual tendencies.
That'd be terrifying.
It would. There's a surgery for that, and no thank
Is
you.
there?
Yeah.
Really?
There's one that takes out like all your sexual hormones.
Oh,
Like they can
that sounds terrible.
They can resurge, but basically it puts them in suspension to where it like freezes them almost. Mm. It's quite terrifying.
Is that a person trying to become asexual, or is that just like somebody who just doesn't want sex to begin with?
Being asexual, like in my understanding, being asexual is like you have no desire for sexual pleasures of the flesh, but you still highly conceive like being able to love and being able to like feel a romantic connection with someone.
Yeah, that's true.
But being, what was the other option you gave?
Or like, do they just don't? Or do they just not want?
They just want, like, basically, like if you're a sexual addict, for example, then that'd be like a time that it would come into effect, I guess.
I would assume you just get burnt out after like so much porn after a certain point.
You would think, but no. I mean,
Austin, have you had this surgery already?
It didn't work. I'm horny as ever. And I owe it all to anime.
Could we create a manga where like that happens? This guy is just so obsessed with porn that even after having that type of surgery,
right?
He just like a light shoots out from the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
You pan down and it's coming from his groin. The surgery didn't work, the doctor said.
It didn't work. You're too much to handle. You have the golden cock.
like Goldfinger.
Yeah.
Gold 11th finger.
No, gold member. Well, gold member, but it was actually melted in a schmelting accident.
A schmelting accident.
That's what he calls it. It was a melting accident, but yes.
I think the word you're looking for is smelting.
Smelting. Yeah, that might be it. But as far as... Okay, so in all serious talk, we started this podcast because of... We love ecchi anime. Yes, we may or may not get off to it. Don't judge us.
That's our own business.
That's our own business. But at the same time, most of the time when we watch ecchi anime... We make fun of it, but not because of the exposure, but because we legitimately find the show funny. So, just like Shimonetta, it's completely fucking absurd with how much, like, self-censorship it gives, like, with the covering and barely, like, walking that thin-ass line between hentai and ecchi. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I can't help but just make fun of it because of how absurd it is, and that's why I love it so much. Then another one would be, say, DxD, because we've been bringing up DxD a lot.
Yeah.
Is, like, there's actual structured storytelling there.
DxD actually does have a, like, story structure to it.
Now,
I think the thing is that, like, it's just the fan service is heavier, and there's a little more of a harem aspect to it.
Because Issei's total dream is to be the harem king. Like,
is that? Yeah, I thought he was just like, I just want a girlfriend.
No, that's how it started. But then when Reyes took him in and said that he has the potential to be a king, he wanted to be like king of the harem.
Oh,
so like, yes, he has a massive crush on Reyes, but he's also like falling for Aiza or Aiza. It's falling for Nanako. He's falling for Ayako. He's falling for like all of the girls that are around him, and he wants to be the harem king of them all. So like ecchi is heavily involved in DxD, but there's still an overstructuring story. There's still like heavy comedy. There's a show to be had there.
Yeah.
Now some shows
don't have sex appeal is just kind of part of the experience for it.
Yeah.
The thing that, like, with ecchi anime that I don't like is when, like, things are so focused on the sexuality.
Yeah.
My problem is, like,
High School of the Dead.
High School of the Dead, I absolutely hate that show.
Yeah.
But, it's also kind of funny to rewatch because it's so awful in my eyes.
Here's the thing. High School of the Dead, you're completely right. It's a completely garbage show, but I love it. And the girls being heavily attractive, there is some truth to
you don't love
that.
High School of the Dead the same way you like Naruto. Like, it's not because you see it's not because you see yourself in like certain characters or you see admirable qualities in other characters.
No, it's because I see guns, zombies, and boobs.
There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with like watching a Michael Bay styled anime, basically.
Right. It's like, you have no taste. This isn't a good movie. I'm like, I know, but I still like it.
I know it's not a good movie.
But
and I enjoy it as a bad movie.
But I still enjoy it, so let me have this.
Right.
Meanwhile, I feel really bad for that, though, because, like, I love garbage shows like High School of the Dead, where I will admit it is a complete garbage show. But
Which, like, don't worry, we'll get a full episode on that from start to finish sometime.
But almost full, like, almost cinematic masterpiece of anime in comparison to a lot of people, like, say... Terran Resonance or Death Note or anything like that, I don't like at all. And it's like, but there's still there's such a good story, there's such good characters. I'm like, I know, but I don't like it. Like, I respect Death Note a lot, but I don't like it. I respect Terran Resonance a lot, but I don't like it. So I'm just like, am I just one that just likes being horny, and that's what really calls? I only like shows with big tits.
Are you asking me?
I'm kind of, because I'm a little bit concerned at this point.
I think the thing is that, like, that you just like more exaggerated stuff is probably what you're more interested in.
As opposed to realistic, and you're 100% right.
I think, like, exaggerated, like, cartoony stuff is probably where your taste lies.
As opposed to realistic.
What's something that's like... What's like a serious anime or show or movie that you like that like you agree with people on? Because like it seems like
the first thing I thought of was Indiana Jones, and that's exaggerated to hell and back.
I mean, like like the whole point of that is that like it's what's the word for it? Cheesy.
Yeah.
Like, it's supposed to be cheesy.
Yeah.
I think you just really like cheesy stuff.
And I love flooding things with cheese. I will never have a pizza without cheese.
Why would you have pizza without cheese?
That sounds like a horrible idea.
I almost want to know what that would be like.
I don't, because I respect my taste buds too much.
Part of me wants to make, like, a pizza filled with just sauce and meat.
How did this come from us talking about Shimonetta and Ecchi anime to us talking about cheeseless pizza?
No, we talked about asexuality at one point here, dude. I think anything goes.
Yeah, but sexuality is still in that sentence.
That's true.
So, moral of the story. If you're horny, it's fine. Like what you like. If you want to get off, get off. And also be kind to each other. Just because some people like vor doesn't mean you have to. But if it's not hurting you, then who the fuck cares? Alright, let's go ahead and plug away.
I'm GoProKyo. I'm the artist. You can find me at youtube.com/GoProKyo. And you can find all my social links on my YouTube channel.
And you guys can also find me, HotShotGinger, right here on my channel. I finally have an episode up. Yay! Which is this one that you're listening to. I have nothing else here. You guys can also find me over on our sister podcast, Anime Podcasters, on Giant Music's channel. He he edits all this podcast. He does all the audio stuff for us. He's really great at it. We just talked once a long time ago, and we've hit it off. We've been friends for like 5 years now. And honestly, my channel, Giant Music's channel, you guys can find me over on Twitter at CautionGinger. With that, all that being said, guys, we have one last thing to say.
This has been PantsuCast, and don't forget to change your underwear.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.